Good morning, Big Red community. This is Matt Smith, Superintendent of Schools. I'm glad to be here today. Sorry if there was any kind of mishap a minute ago. We started live streaming to a different account, and we apologize for that. Goal for today is for us to continue to provide you additional information regarding the COVID-19 response in Belton ISD. We want to make sure that we are doing our best to be transparent with our community during this process. Three things to remember real quickly. We are striving in everything that we do through this to provide clarity in our communication. We're working to ensure that kindness comes through in all of our work that we do, and we're trying to make sure that unity in our purpose, unity about what we're about in Belton ISD doesn't wane in all of this, and we're focused on meeting the needs of our kids, and we want to make sure that our kids, our family, and our community are well taken care of. I do have a team in here today that's helping me out with a few things. I need you to know we're practicing social distancing, that they are quite a ways away from me, so I apologize if I'm further away than I was the other day. We are doing our best to make sure that we are following all guidelines that the governor has issued and any other entities have issued in all of this. So please know that we are following those practices. We also would like you to follow those practices. The idea of social distancing is keeping 6 feet away from each other and trying to ensure that you're not helping to spread COVID-19 to anybody that you come in contact with. The more we practice that right now, the better we'll be able to serve our community and hopefully get our students back to school one of these days. Second thing I want to make sure I do is send a shout out to our staff. Our staff has been phenomenal on all of this, and I need you to know that questions have come in about your pay. Our Board of Trustees the other night did an outstanding thing, and they made sure that every employee in Belton ISD is going to be paid through this challenge with the COVID-19. That means that our paraprofessionals, our administrative assistants, transportation, food service, you're all getting paid through this. And yes, we may be in contact with you to talk more about that, but you will be getting paid through this challenge.
Matt, can you speak up a little bit? They're having a little bit of trouble hearing.
Sure, I'll do my best. I do have a teacher voice, so I'll do my best on that. So employee pay is going to continue in all of this, and that's thanks to our Board of Trustees and an action they took the other night during our board meeting on Tuesday afternoon. Closure has come up, and how will closure impact the length of the school year? Right now, we do not foresee us having to go additional time. What we are trying to do in Belton ISD is to make sure that while school is closed, we're going to continue to provide learning experiences for students. We will talk a little bit more about that this morning. We'll roll some things out this next week. But those learning experiences are going to be while the school is closed or the schools are closed, they're going to be for students to be doing at home. You all know that the governor issued some restrictions yesterday afternoon saying that we needed to stay closed for a couple of weeks. Belton had made that announcement a little bit earlier, and we will continue to use all of that information, whether it's the governor, whether it's state and local health authorities, whomever, to make good choices for our students. But during those closures, we also want to make sure that students have learning opportunities, and our team is working extremely hard right now to make sure that those are happening.
Matt,
Yeah.
can you answer a question about the credit union here at the admin building and what the hours are going to look like?
Right now, the credit union, we put a notice out to everyone over the last couple of days. The credit union is open from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. today for people to access that. We will have some people here to help guide, so we don't have a lot of people coming in the building, but we do know people accessing their funds in our buildings while they're closed is extremely important. We will provide additional information about other days that it's open if needed, but for right now, it's open 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. today.
Great. Do you want to jump in with a question on the extended learning? Some parents are a little concerned about if they are also working during this time, how they're going to be a homeschool parent.
Parents, I can tell you this, that's one of the things that we're struggling with in our planning too. We are doing our best to figure out how we create learning experiences for students to do at home, while also respecting the fact that many of our jobs have changed in the last week, so that most people are working from home at this time. I will be very honest with you, I have 2 daughters and was at home trying to figure that exact same thing out yesterday. It's a challenge for all of us. What I can tell you is that we're trying to take that into account with the learning opportunities that we're providing. What the state has asked us to do is to make sure that we are providing learning opportunities for all of this, and we value that. That's one of our core values that we have here, is we want students to continue learning. And in order for us to do that, we know students are going to have to do some activities at home. We're doing our best to structure things so that families can have family time, work time, and student learning time, all while they are at home and all while they are together. I do fully understand as a parent that that's going to be a challenge. We will continue to evolve. I would say we're probably on plan 10 about now, and by the time we get through some of this, we'll be on plan probably 25. And I need you all to know that we are trying to take all of that into account to meet the needs of our students and our families.
Great, and several questions coming in about families not having internet access or sketchy internet access that they're afraid it's not going to be enough.
So there are a few things about the internet access. First of all, the internet access, yes, is probably a part of some of all of this, and we are exploring various options to be able to try and provide extended internet coverage for families to be able to use during this process. For those families that don't have internet coverage, we will work to see what we can do to point you in the right direction or to help you be able to access that material. I want to be clear that the learning opportunities don't all mean online learning opportunities, and there's probably going to be some information that's communicated online, but there'll probably be multiple methods for students to actually get some of this information, meaning there could be packets that people are able to pick up. There could be different ways for just to download activities when you are on a stable internet connection. So please know that we are working to figure those things out. I don't want anybody to think that everything is going to be online learning. I think it's going to look various ways. I would expect additional communication to be coming out from your teachers and from your principals over the next couple of days. Our goal is to try and make sure all of that is rolled out and that communication happens very thoughtfully over the next couple of work days, which would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Great. Shauna says that her campus, where her students are at, they've started distributing iPads, so she's already hearing from them.
Yeah, there will be campus information coming your way. For those of you that were wondering, hey, how does this look? Like my son or daughter left their iPad at school, and how do they get that? And campuses will be the lead communicators for us in some of those things. And I do know that there are a couple campuses that reached out and said, here's how we're going to make sure that you get the devices and material that you need during this time.
Great. Question about with this extension of the closure, what does the end of school year look like? Is it the same date? Are we pushing into the summer?
So we don't believe that we're going to have to push farther into the summer. I will tell you real briefly, try not to go too long on this. The guidance that we've been given as school districts in the state of Texas is that we have to continue to provide learning opportunities for students. They realize, meaning our commissioner and Texas Education Agency realizes that learning has to look different right now, and we don't anticipate adding additional weeks on to the school year at this time. However, I will say this, and I'll be entirely honest, I can't predict what things are going to look like. I don't know how this is going to ultimately impact us, and I need our community to know that. What we are trying to do is say, we value student learning, we are unified in our purpose to provide great student learning experiences for kids, and we're going to do our best to provide those at home while we are working through these closures. But going back to the original question, are we anticipating having to extend the school year? Right now, we are not anticipating to have to extend the school year.
Great. We're getting lots of feedback from multiple people saying thank you for a great job in what you've been doing. So I just want to throw that out there to you. Additional questions about, my student has an IEP or a 504, and I'm not sure what needs to happen.
So I've mentioned this a couple of different times, especially on our Facebook Live a couple of days ago. We are committed to making sure each and every student in our school district is well taken care of. It's evolving, and it may look different than it did when everybody was face-to-face. Regarding our students with special needs or regarding our English learners, please know that we are working with a team to develop good plans to make sure that their needs are being met. With students with special needs, we know that they have an IEP or individual education plan. In each of those students, what we will do is continue working with those IEPs and try and figure out what services and learning look like from a distance in all of this. But know that we are not going into this saying we are just planning in a big broad brush and some people will be forgotten about in all of this. In fact, it's the opposite. We are planning to make sure that we're providing great learning experiences for each and every student that we serve.
Great. If I can switch topics to meals, meal service in the community. Somebody's suggesting, can meals be delivered by a bus to students?
So, a couple of things before I get into that question. I'm super proud of the fact that we have, up until the end of the day yesterday, served 2,183 meals in 4 days in Belton ISD. And over the state of Texas, as of yesterday, there were only over 1,000 different meal distribution sites throughout the state of Texas to help make sure that students and families were well taken care of during this time. That makes me really proud as an educator, because we know that sometimes our families need that support and our students need that support. And the fact that we have mobilized that quickly to get 2,183 meals out in Belton ISD makes me extremely proud of the staff that we have and of the community that we have. As far as the being able to change the way things are right now, here's the background of the information and why you see it the way, the system the way it is. In our meal distribution, we have guidelines that we have to follow, and right now those guidelines say that students have to be with families in order to pick up the food, and that they have to do that separately, like a breakfast time and a lunchtime, and that we can't provide a bunch of meals all at the same time. What we were told yesterday by the commissioner is that our state and the Texas Department of Agriculture, who governs food distribution in the schools, is working with the federal government to provide some additional guidance to us and relax some of those guidelines a little bit. We will provide you more information as we are able to. We do need you to know that we understand the inconvenience that it's causing with parents to have to come back a couple of times a day or to have students with you, and we will continue to try and work through that with the guidance that we are given from the state of Texas.
Great. Jumping back to the academic side of things, can you tell us anything about end of course exams? Are students still expected to complete those?
So our governor basically put an end to our STAR assessments and our end of course exams for this year. So what would happen with students is you don't have to worry about taking the test for the remainder of this year right now. What we have to work through as a school district is to figure out how that impacts students that we're counting on that testing opportunity for graduation and stuff. What the governor what the commissioner has said is that we have the ability to take a look at what the student has been doing to continue using these learning opportunities and to make sure that we are working with the student individually on their graduation plan. So to be clear, STAR testing and end of course assessments are all canceled for this year. That was done through the governor and the commissioner of education.
Great. I know a hot topic that a lot of people have been asking about are seniors and how devastating this is to their senior year experience. Can you answer any questions about what's going to happen to prom? Are we going to have graduation? There's a band trip scheduled to Disney World. It's just really upsetting.
Yes. So we sympathize with that. We need people to understand that the experiences that students have in these, especially their senior year, but honestly in many years, are extremely important for us to provide to our students. I'm not ready to say that things like prom and graduation are canceled, and I want to be clear about that. I will say this, that certain things are going to have to be postponed. We have restrictions that are imposed on us across the state of Texas, and with good reason. We are doing our best to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and to keep our students, staff, and our community healthy and safe during all of this. So I do know that New Tech High School's prom was scheduled for next Friday, I believe, and I need you to know for right now we're holding off on that. I am not ready to say that it's canceled yet, but we are not going to have prom next week because we need to follow those guidelines to keep our students, our staff, and our community safe. All of these types of experiences, please know that it's fluid. If we were told that it was safe for our community to go back to school in 2 weeks, I'd be ecstatic because we'd be able to ensure that we were able to provide those for our students. The reality of this is I don't know how this will play out over the next 7, 8, 9 weeks. I think we have about 9 weeks until the end of the school year. And we will work through that together and do our best to keep communicating to you what we have to do to try and ensure those experiences are happening.
Yeah, great. Some parents are asking if you do decide, based on guidance and suggestions to open school again, and they choose that they need to stay home for various reasons, is that an option for students? Do you know at this point?
I can't tell you at this point. Here's what I would say is I value the parents' ability to prioritize the health and safety of your kids. And so if we get to the point where we are reopening school and you are concerned about sending your student to school, I value the fact that you might want to keep them home. I believe it's our job to try and help work through that and to make sure, one, that our schools are safe to attend, two, that families feel like they're safe to attend, and three, that if a student is not able to attend because they're experiencing something like this with their family, that we are providing additional learning opportunities for them. I can't predict what that's going to look like right now. I don't know where we will be in the next couple of weeks, to be honest. But I do understand the concern from a parent perspective. As I mentioned earlier, I have 2 daughters, and I understand the concern that might be on parents' mind about sending students to school if we open too early. I need you to know the decisions on being open for a school district. I use input from various agencies, various health authorities, and trying to make sure that we prioritize the health and safety of our students. So I don't believe it would be prudent of me to be out there opening schools and put our students and staff in an unsafe situation. So please know that I'm taking all of that information before we make decisions on school closures to try and make sure that health and safety is the #1 priority that we have.
Great. And, obviously the situation is evolving and very fluid. Maybe remind the community that they can reach out to our online form and submit additional questions. We're using that to try to inform our communication.
I think that's a really good point. So we have worked, I mentioned earlier, we are working on providing clarity in our communication, unity in our purpose, and kindness in the way we approach everything from Belton ISD's perspective. The clarity in communication is extremely important because we need information from you or questions from you to help make sure that we are hitting your targets. That's why we're doing this Facebook Live. That's why we have put a form online. It's a Google form for you to actually fill out to be able to submit us your questions. We are then trying to make sure that they're distributed to the appropriate people and you're getting your questions answered, and then we're able to see the themes of those questions so that we can best answer the community questions that are pressing. So please use that form, look at our website. Right now we are posting something on a daily basis about COVID updates. We've been given feedback that it would be great to keep them short and sweet, so we're doing our best to do that. And on that website should give you some guidance on submitting your questions as well.
Yeah. Can you answer anything about if parents are trying to purchase computers and technology to assist their student? Do we have any staff set up to help answer questions about what they should purchase?
We just talked about this yesterday, not about the purchasing question, but just the idea of any kind of technology support and guidance that Belton ISD might be able to provide for some of our families during this time. So we are working to ensure that we publicize that on the website. I would anticipate that'll roll out in the next few days to be able to say if you're having technical questions or technology help is needed, that you would be able to have some access to someone for that.
Great. And to reiterate, you said that campus principals are going to be kind of the key communicators about the extended learning opportunities. What's the best way to reach out to my campus principal?
Yeah, I think that there are a few things I would recommend on this one to be able to look for communication from your teachers or your principal coming up in the next couple of days to you. They are going to be reaching out to our entire community. Our goal is to reach out early next week to make sure that these learning opportunities are rolled out for all students in Belton ISD early next week. So I would be on the lookout for that communication. Most of the time that comes via email from our principals and teachers, I know. I do know that Schoology is a tool that we have used at the secondary level, so I would be looking for information on Schoology as well. And then if you're not getting that information, there are a couple things. Well, first, we need to know that. Second, reach out to your campus principal. There should be email contacts on your school's website. I would reach out to your campus principal or your teachers to let them know that you are not getting the communication that is needed during this time. We have found a couple of things that have been little glitches along the way where people have opted out of Sky Alerts in the past, and we're working to make sure that those that have opted out, if they're hopefully wanting to opt in at this time, because we're using that as a communication tool, that they're able to opt back in. So if you are struggling to get information from us, please let us know that. Again, emails are probably the best at this time.
Great. I think we've hit on most of the big points.
So if I could, can I go back and,
Yep.
hit a few things again for those of you that may have joined a little bit later. First of all, 3 big priorities for us in Belton ISD as we're moving through this COVID-19 challenge together, providing clarity in our communication, approaching everything in kindness, and ensuring that we have unity in our purpose, and that's focusing on our students and their learning needs. Please know that that's our approach in all this, and we'll keep working to make sure that we're hitting those targets. Second thing is that the questions have come in pretty loud and clear about staff and that there's confusion about it. Thanks to our Board of Trustees on Tuesday night, all staff, that's all staff, paraprofessionals, transportation department, cafeteria workers, all staff in Belton ISD will receive their pay while we are closed for this COVID-19 challenge. So those kind of community concerns or staff concerns, please know that our Board of Trustees made that a priority on Tuesday night during our board meeting. Closure during the school year, and will that impact the length of our school year? Right now, we don't believe that it will impact the length of our school year. I can't predict the future, but as of right now, what TEA, our Texas Education Agency, has asked us to do is provide learning opportunities for students on a regular basis. We will roll those out next week and continue to do those while we are closed, so that we are hoping to avoid adding additional weeks during the summertime. Seniors, that has been a big one that has come up on a regular basis. What about our seniors? What about testing? What about STAR? The STAR test, the end of course assessments have all been canceled for this year. Individual schools will work with seniors, like Belton High School and New Tech will work with the seniors to talk to them about their graduation and what needs to be done in order to get them graduated. I can't predict what the big events will look like, especially for our seniors, and I apologize for that, but my hope right now is that those big events like prom and graduation and things, what we're able to do is postpone those in hope that they can engage in those experiences later this spring. We obviously have to watch about how all this unfolds, and the guidance that we're given as a state, as a local county, and as a school district, and that guidance will impact how we are able to have those events in the future. Again, prioritizing safety of students and staff and community in all of this.
Great. I'm seeing a lot of messages here and just across social media about how teachers are really missing their students, and it's difficult for them. Is there anything you can say?
I can't even imagine. From a teacher perspective, so I'm a teacher at heart. I was a high school English teacher, and we are all struggling with this notion of being separated from the people that we work with and the people that we serve, and particularly our students. Best part of my day as a superintendent is when I get to see kids in action. So I can't even imagine how hard this is impacting our teachers. Community, please know that while you may think it's easy on our teachers because they don't have all those bodies in front of them, realize that we are about more than that in Belton ISD. We care about the students that we serve, and you can feel that love and support when you walk into every one of our buildings. So I know our teachers are missing our kids, and we will do our best to continue to try and reach out and figure out how those connections can be made from a distance, because we do need to practice safe and healthy habits at this time in order to keep everyone safe. But that is hitting all of us right now. We are definitely feeling the hurt of not seeing kids in schools.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up.
Community, I just want to say one more time, thank you for your support, understanding, and flexibility during all of this. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is a challenge that we never would have predicted in our schools. We are working through this evolving situation. It's a very fluid situation, and we're doing our best to focus on serving our kids each and every day. We will keep reaching out to you on a regular basis to make sure that we are providing you as much information as we can. Please make sure that you're submitting your questions, and we will do our best to maintain this transparency during this time. Thank you all for your support, and go Big Red Community.